Welcome to Class 21, the Old Testament, the books of Numbers and Deuteronomy. The author, the goal, the topics. The book of Numbers, in Hebrew, in the desert, is the fourth book of Moses, of the Torah, of the Old Testament, and of the entire Bible. The name is given by the translators because the numbers of the census of the Jews is given at the beginning of the book. The book has 36 chapters. The author of the Numbers, as well as the entire Pentateuch, is the holy prophet Moses. His authorship is confirmed by Jesus Christ in the Gospels, as well as by other books of the Bible. The Talmud, the ancient historians Flavius, Philo, and others also confirm that. The content of the books of Moses is relevant to its time and place. All things are described in detail by a man and for people who lived in the Egyptian desert at that time. Even the book of Genesis is written as an introduction for the people who were heading to get to the promised land. The chronological, rather than systematic, order of presentation of laws also indicates that these books were written gradually. 400 acronyms used only in the Pentateuch witness to its antiquity. Now, the purpose of the book of Numbers is to tell about the life of the Israelites in the period from the 2nd to the 40th year of their journey in the desert, and about their relationship with God and their formation as a nation. The book describes the calculations of adult men and the publication of a number of laws, some events of the 38-year journey through the desert, then advancing with battles along the Jordan River, and finally arriving in the plains of Moab, opposite Jericho, from where the conquest of the promised land was to begin. The main events of the book of Numbers: the census, the murmurs of the people, the punishment of Moses and Aaron for their lack of faith, the punishment of Miriam for murmuring against Moses, the exploration of the promised land, the refusal of the Jews to go into it, and their punishment for this with a 38-year stay in the desert. Along with that, the uprising of Korah, the death of Miriam and Aaron, and the ordination of Eleazar, the victory of over 3 kings on the way to the promised land, the invasion by snakes, the story with the Magi Balaam, and the election of Joshua, the destruction of the Midianites for their seduction of the Jews into fornication and idolatry. The main prophecy about the Messiah is the words of Balaam about the future great king. Chapter 24, verse 17. I see him, but not close. The star rises from Jacob, and the rod rises from Israel. Now about the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is the 5th book of Moses, from Greek meaning the second law. It contains 34 chapters. The book contains a farewell speech by Moses to the Israelites on the eve of their crossing the Jordan and conquest of Canaan. As its name implies, the purpose of the book is to repeat and add the historical and legislative elements of the books of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, after 40 years to the new generation of the Jews. But the main goal is edifying. Moses admonishes the Israelites to observe the law of God with a special emphasis about worshiping of other gods. The book repeats the 10 Commandments and sets out religious precepts, civil and criminal laws. Then Moses talks about how to conduct the conquest of the Promised Land. For example, which peoples should be destroyed, and what kind of king should be in the future, etc. The prophecy of the Messiah, chapter 18, verse 18, about a future prophet like Moses. So Moses handed over Deuteronomy to the Levites and bequeathed to read it publicly once every 7 years. The book ends with the Song of Moses, his blessing to the tribes of Israel, and his death on Mount Nebo. The Bible indicates the total number of adult Jewish men at 600,000, including, with women, children, and foreigners, at least 3 million. 3 million, including everyone. Perhaps due to the error of the scribes, these figures are overestimated by 100 times, which can be seen from the general context. From the many biblical genealogies, it is clear that on average there were 5 children in families, and about 5 generations passed from the resettlement of 75 Jews to Egypt to their exodus. That is, the real number of Jews with families could grow to tens of thousands. For 3 million people, 1 water source and 3 priests would not be enough. The length of their column with cattle would be like the length of the whole Sinai Peninsula. The camp would be as large as a megapolis, and the rule of Deuteronomy 23, verse 12, to go to the toilet outside the camp would be impossible. In Numbers 1, verse 16, the leaders of the 12 tribes are called captains of thousands. So ends Class 21, the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy.